and rewarding careers. And you have the opportunity here today, you have that opportunity to change your future. I implore you to take full advantage of this opportunity. I implore you to ask questions, to provide answers, to start now. Start to make a difference in your life. Start to make a difference in the Bahamas. Start to make a difference in your community. Make a difference in this country. Another opportunity you have is to learn a foreign language. I implore you to become ambassadors for the Bahamas. Tourism is our #1 industry. And does all of our tourists speak English? The answer is no. Do you speak their language? The answer is no. As we seek to encourage tourists from Asian countries, be it China, Japan, I encourage you to learn their language. As we market to South America, because we must expand, I encourage you to learn Spanish. We must expand our horizons. We must expand our knowledge. We must be the catalyst for change. I take a quote from the President of the United States, Barack Obama, and he said, "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek." In Killarney, we have spent many days walking from business sector to business sector, trying to create opportunities for you. Some of us would have been on phone endless time, day and night, communicating with the business sectors, trying again to find jobs and opportunities for you. The government is introducing a job program trying to build your knowledge and expand and prepare you for the future. Some of you will be placed in different sectors, again trying to expand and prepare you for tomorrow. The payment plan will be subsidized up to $210 per week. Now that may sound small to many of you, but that would be preparing you for this change, preparing you for tomorrow. Some of you will be placed in banks. Some of you will be placed in hospitals. Some of you will be trained and expanded, your IT knowledge will be expanded, so that just as I launched that program this morning, we would need individuals who would be a part of that IT team so that you can organize and deal with the telemedicine program, so that as we expand to other parts of the Bahamas, you would be that individual who would be managing and monitoring that IT system. It would also mean that those of you who are placed in that setting, based on your IT knowledge and your qualification, what it means is that there will be opportunities for you to travel, to conferences, etc., so that you can see how this program is being utilized in America and other parts of the world, so that you can bring back new knowledge to us, so that we can expand our program and remain on the cutting edge of technology, and so that we can achieve our dream being the health magnet of the Caribbean. So some of you will be placed in that setting. And during that year, I urge and encourage you to learn as much as you can. I can only provide opportunities, but you must work hard. You must be determined. You must become a part of that job setting and show them what you can do. Because if you take an attitude that this job was given to me by my MP or the government, remember, we cannot save the job for you. But if you want to move and be a part of this change, you must come back and teach individuals like myself what are the cutting edge, what are the changes. So some of you will be placed in that setting. Some of you may be placed registry department. You would have heard when I spoke during the last budget debate in Parliament, when I said mothers who deliver their infant to register their birth must travel away from the hospital to a particular setting to register their birth. Some of you may be placed within that area so that you can register the birth. So that when mothers deliver, they need not have to travel some distance to do that. And what happens is a lot of people, because they have to go to another location to register their infant, they don't go. And what you find is that a lot of you may not necessarily be registered or have birth certificates. You fall in a similar situation like me. When I was born, there was no birth certificate because my mother did not register, which meant I had to get affidavit. I had to prove that I was the son of my mother and prove that I was the son of my father. But we don't want that to happen. So some of you will be placed in that area so that the registration can occur on site. Some of you may also be placed in construction settings. And I know many people look down on construction, but remember, without that, you won't be here today. You won't be sitting in this building today. And remember that even as a young man, while growing up, I must admit, I tried construction. I only lasted 2 hours. 2 hours. They picked me up from my house about 6:30. You had to be at the job site at 7. Once you started, the first thing you did was shovel sand and move mortar or the cement back and forth. The sun baking on you. 11 o'clock. I walked off the job that I had enough. Up to the day I did not go back for my 4 hours pay. I was not interested. I left. And I made a commitment at that time that for me, I have to work in air conditioning. I ain't going to. And therefore I made a determination to be educated. And I sold newspapers every morning before I went to school. I sold the Nassau Guardian. Every morning I went and bought 30 newspapers. At that time they were 10 cents each. And therefore that was $3 I spent to buy 30 newspapers. And you sold it for 15 cents. So every morning I made $1.50 profit. And every evening I finished from school, I sold Tribune and made an additional $1.50. And at least 2 days a week, I worked in a tailor shop, learning to sew. And therefore I made pants. Now from that time, from those early age, I had some degree of business inclination. Because making pants at that time, you made $2 profit. And it took you less than 2 hours to make a pant, to make $2. So every 2 days a week leaving school, I would stop at a tailor shop and make pants and collect my $2 because I made one in that particular Coats, like what I wore, what I'm wearing now. Coats took you a day and a half to 2 days to make a coat. By the time you finish the padding and we made the buttonholes with not these fancy machines that we have today, you made them just with thread needles, and I still know how to make them. A coat would have taken you 2.5 hours to make. I made 2.5 days. And in that 2.5 days, you were paid $2 for coat. And you were paid $2 for pants. I had no interest in learning how to make coats. I never made a coat in my life. I was not prepared to work for 2.5 days for $2 versus 2 hours for 2 days, $2. And therefore, I made pants. And I used all of that to help me go through school. And it was very, very helpful. So some of you will be placed in construction. And one other story I want to say. On Sundays, to help supplement, to go to St. Augustine's, etc., to help supplement my income, I shine shoes. And you must remember, at that time, a can of polish only cost 25 cents. But of that one can of polish, you could have made $25. So I shined shoes on Sunday. And all that money that I made, I gave to my mom. And she would have given me allowance and assist with whatever bills. So that's how I was brought up, knowing that education was key and one had to support themselves. So some of you will also be placed in collection agencies, employed there. Some of you will be placed in commercial centers, be it shoe stores or non-shoe stores. But all of this has been arranged. Some of you will be placed in doctor's offices. Some of you will be placed in dentist offices. But I urge that when you're placed in these capacities, please take advantage so that your knowledge base will expand, so that you can protect your future and yourselves. We know that Bama is being built. We know that there's only a limited market of high-end tourists, which means that Sun International may probably look towards the Central and South America market. Bama would probably look at the Asian market. And therefore, we must prepare, because they're looking at those markets, or they look at those markets. We do not want to be placed in a position where any company can say to us, we're not qualified, and give them an excuse to bring in foreign nationals. We do not want to be placed in that. And therefore, we must build our own capacity and prepare ourselves for tomorrow. And therefore, in the Killarney constituency, for example, we would organize after school programs so that some individuals, be it at College of Bahamas or within the community who know Spanish, can be a part of this program so that they can be our teachers, preparing our students for the future. And the same would apply to both Spanish and Mandarin. We would also, within the Killarney constituency, push so that many of you, especially those, the kids in school, would have some form of after-school program, so that what happened when I went to St. Augustine, we did not get out of school until 5 o'clock. But the last 2 hours was spent in a homeroom setting where we had teachers vigilating us and assisting us with our homeworks. So when we left school, our homeworks were completed, because they knew at that time that there were individuals like myself who did not have an academic environment to sit down and study. Their home only had one dining room with 4 chairs. And if you're in a family of 7 brothers and sisters. They're there moving in and out at all times, having supper there, etc., which means you did not have any environment to study. But when we left SAC, individuals like myself would have finished my homework. And that's what we're going to do, so that there'll be some of you who can fit into that category, so that you can assist in invigilating students, so that they too can be prepared for tomorrow. And for that, you'll be a part of this employment program and paid. And that would help to build our institution. So I want to conclude by saying change is always painful. The roads that we see represent change. But there's a future to the end. Change is not easy, and it's not done overnight. Just as if you had a medical problem that must be corrected by surgery, that means you experience pain, that's change, but that lasts for a short time in preparation for a great benefit. For this program, there's a registration process. And starting on Monday at 9:30 to 3, you can go to the various different registration centers. That is L.W. Young, Junior High, C.R. Walker, Senior High, E.P. Roberts, Primary, Anatole Rogers High, C.V. Bethel, Senior High, H.O. Nash, Junior High. There you can receive the application, complete the application. Ensure that you have proper ID, the first 4 pages of the passport, birth certificate, national insurance card, and national insurance number. And as I said, some of you will be placed in these various different positions. We can only provide the jobs for you. This is a 1-year program. The whole idea is building capacity. You know that the Princess Margaret Hospital, for example, is expanding. You know that they're creating a new critical care wing. You would also know that when that's completed, they would need a certain amount of personnel. Prepare for that. Do not allow, we should not allow entities to say we are not qualified and give them excuse to seek work permit. Let us prepare for the change, prepare for tomorrow. And in terms of registering at these various different centers, starting on Monday, the last name A through F, you can register at the centers, complete the application at the centers that I mentioned. On Tuesday, G through L. On Wednesday the 20th, M through R. And on Thursday the 21st, S through Z. Also on Monday, some of the applications would be online, and therefore I would urge those of you who have access to complete the application, so that by the time you're there, you would have already completed that process rather than having to wait. Last thing I want to say to you, when you enter, especially the private sector, for your interview, for your jobs, like I said, we've already talked to many of the private sector who are willing to accept many of them. Then, during your interview, don't go there with your pants, what do you call it, hipsters? Don't go there with your pants way there. An individual will make an assessment right there on you. Go neatly attired, all right? Don't go there chewing gum, walking with your boss or whatever. Say, yeah, I got for a job, man. What you got there for me? That would automatically you would disqualify yourself. Just think of the opportunity being created for you, so that as this country continues to develop and expand, you would be a part of that change. The change that we speak about, the change that I speak about, that change comes from within. It's your change. Not necessarily changing me or changing someone else, but you must change yourself, including me. So let's prepare for the future. I wanted them to play one particular song for us. I don't even hear it yet.
He was competing with the mic.
Huh?
He was competing with you.
Go on. This particular song refers to change. And I want each of you to just stand up and hold each other's hand and just listen.